talk about. It's for a project or some service, Lisa, that people have been involved in the city. And you'll start with a historic site survey of the St. Nicholas neighborhood.
Yes, this is really the first crucial step for historic preservation, and that's to identify the historic buildings that define a community. Realizing the importance of this, the St. Nicholas Business Association, with the help of former council member Suzanne Jenkins and the Jacksonville Planning Department and consultant Bland and Associates, coordinated this historic survey of the St. Nicholas neighborhood in South Jacksonville. And as a result, a number of buildings, over 500 buildings, were documented on the Florida Master Site File, which is the document that the state uses. And they came up with a developmental history of the area, description of the various architectural styles, and came up with specific recommendations to ensure the long-term preservation of the neighborhood.
And the next award goes to the Jacksonville Historical Society and one of our board members, Ed Booth, called Jacksonville's Most Endangered Sites, a project we have. Will you tell a little about that?
Yes, you probably could tell me more than I can tell you, but basically this was started as a subcommittee of the Historical Society, with Ed Booth being the chair, and just trying to keep track of all the various buildings out there that were in danger for whatever reason, whether it's deterioration, in some cases a highway coming very close to it, development pressures, public policy, and there's a number of things that can put a building in jeopardy.
And these are all historic buildings.
Yes. And 2008, you revealed your top 10
That's
list
right, top
of
10
threatened structures, and that is continuing this year, I understand it.
We'll do a top 12 this year.
That's right. That's
More
right.
on the list.
But this is also highlighted on the website, and we thought that it was really interesting to see the buildings in their original state and their unfortunate state today, and I think this goes a long way to educate the people how important these structures are and that we need to figure out a way to save them.
Thank you. And now next, an individual is going to be honored just for their efforts to help preserve the historic nature of Riverside and Avondale.
Yes, you know, every neighborhood needs its advocate, and Riverside Avondale has Kay House. Kay first moved to Riverside when she purchased her bungalow in 1989, but she got a job with Jim Overton as his executive council assistant, and while she worked with him, she helped with the conversion of Post and College back to two-way traffic.
And Jim Overton at the time was the Riverside councilman, Riverside Avondale councilman.
Yes,
so
he
she
was.
became
Thank
involved
you.
in it. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Some people kind of resisted the idea of bringing it back to two-way because it was basically kind of a highway through the district, but she understood that discontinuing that and going back to two-way would allow it to return to a neighborhood street feel and as it was designed to be. And we asked Overton what he felt about Kay, and he said that, you know, she is tenacious, but in a friendly sort of way. She is incredibly effective in getting things done. She is one of my fairest critics and pushes me to do better, which I thought says a lot for Kay.
Very nice.
She's remained active on her own, and she's been involved with the Riverside Avondale Zoning Overlay Committee. They just passed the overlay back last summer. She's been involved with the Stockton Street Town Center that helped with that entry into the historic neighborhood. She initiated a strategic plan for the Riverside Avondale preservation that really kind of helped the organization serve the needs of that historic community. And she initiated a tree planting program that resulted in hundreds of trees being planted and helping to restore that beautiful tree canopy that we have in our historic neighborhoods.
Well, congratulations to Kay E. House. Now you're moving on to Archaeology Awards, and you had a big project, the archaeological project at the Betts Tiger Point Reserve. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes. And this property was purchased by the city of Jacksonville in 2003, but before they could really do any design work for public access in order to use the site, the city had to, they wanted to conduct an in-depth analysis to identify and protect any historic or cultural resources on the property. And so, utilizing a number of grants, the 548-acre city preserve was surveyed, and there were shovel tests done. And the exciting thing is they actually utilized field school students from University of North Florida, led by Dr. Keith Ashley. And after 6 weeks in the field, they returned back to the UNF laboratory for analysis, and basically discovered that the Tiger Point was not a major village, but rather a seasonal camp where small family groups came to live during the summer and early autumn. And it appears to be first inhabited during the Middle Archaic period. That's between 5,000 and 3,000 BC.
Oh my.
And artifacts range from a 6,000-year-old stone projectile point to pieces of dinner plates dating to the early 1800s.
So then they span 5,000 BC all the way up to the early 1800s.
We have a lot of history here.
And people don't always recognize that. Well, thank you.
Especially when it's underground.
Yes, and you and the Preservation Commission for recognizing them. We're moving on now to architecturally compatible new construction. So you do award people who are building new but making it fit into the neighborhood. And the first award winner is at 3899 Arden Street. Tell a little about this.
This is interesting. It was what we call a non-contributing structure in the historic district, and the family that lived there, the Grimsleys, were looking to just do some additions on the property, and had selected a local architect, William Luthold, to do that. But after some planning, they decided to kind of hold off. They weren't quite ready to do that, and a number of storms hit, and there were problems with the property. It basically flooded, and so basically fate was telling them they needed to go on, and so they had him design a new home for the site. And you can see that it's got lots of historic details on the exterior, which allow it to blend very well within the neighborhood, but the interior has got more of a contemporary feel.
Well, you can certainly see where this house would fit in beautifully in the Riverside Avondale neighborhood. An award well deserved. Now another residential rehabilitation was at West 6th Street, 143 West 6th.
Yes, this was
not another. This is new. This is actually a rehab. I'm sorry.
Yes, this is actually an existing structure that underwent a large rehabilitation, and the owner of the property is very involved with the green movement and kept that in mind in doing this home. And so the result was a wonderful restoration, as well as incorporating a number of green and efficient details to the home. And even the site will have native and adaptable plants in the yard, and a rainwater collection system in order to water them.
And that is a Springfield location. Now we're moving to a Riverside location, 3002 Riverside Avenue, the home of Ronald Pride and Jenny Lynn. And they rehabbed a home over there and received an award for their work.
Yes, this is actually listed in the Architectural Heritage Book. And I think this was probably the quote of the night when I asked the owner, Ron Pride, to give me some details. He said, "The renovation has been a labor of love. I love my wife, and she loves this house." And that basically started it all. It was in very bad condition when they first got it, and it took some doing just to get a hold of it, because it was at a very high price, and finally I think it went into some type of foreclosure, and they got it. And he had worked with his father on some house redos before, and so his father would come down and help him every 2 weeks with the project. And it had a beautiful outcome. These are some of the during shots, and some interior after, and there's the beautiful house that's today. It's on a very prominent corner in Riverside as well.
And we're going to move very quickly now. There was a Gilmore Street, also Riverside rehab, so if we can go fairly quickly through that.
This is another what we call a non-contributing structure. They could have tore this down under the law and never thought anything of it. Went back with something new. Not many people saw much to look at it, but look what they did with it.
They did a lot.
They really saw the promise, and reopened the porch and took off the inappropriate siding and selected very quality materials to go back.
And the Christopher Company received that award. Now the next one is at 2253 Oak Street, and Eduardo and Kathleen Balbona received the award for this rehab.
Yes, this was a mixed use, a commercial on the bottom and apartments above. I actually used to live in this building, but they took it. It really hadn't had a lot of maintenance done to it, not a lot of updates, and they did a lot to to bring that up, as well as just beautify the exterior. A lot of times when you have a kind of a zero lot line, there's no space for incorporating landscaping, and they did a lot with planters and really beautified the building, including removing a really bad door, and went back with a custom door, a very expensive door, that really, I think, helped the front facade.
Now, we're going to go as quickly as we can and show a couple of very fast commercial rehabilitations, just really run through them. The Women's Club, this exterior, an award has been received for that. They've really changed that dramatically, and a lot of work has been done there. Also, at the they received an award for it, the Comer did, among others. The Richard Norman Studios, structural and exterior restoration. An award has been received there for the work done by Kenneth Smith Architects, Inc. and City of Jacksonville and others. I'm sorry I can't mention all the names. Of course, the J.H. Churchwell Building Rehab downtown on Bay Street, a magnificent rehabilitation by PRP Properties, Inc. And finally, we have the Brewster Hospital Rehabilitation. McDaniel Contractors, Inc., what a job. Jaycox Architects, City of Jacksonville, Glorious Johnson and Warren Jones Council people. It just a real labor of love on all those projects, and I only wish we could have given them more time. Lisa, we're going to take a break now, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up with the final award and a few words from our president, Jerry Spinks. Stay with us, though, Lisa. Don't go away.
The Jacksonville Historical Society, preserving your city's history, protecting your city's treasures, advocating the restoration of Jacksonville landmarks, archiving a century of historical documents, collecting rare photographs, tens of thousands, creating the Merrill Museum House piece by piece, restoring Old St. Andrew's Church, receiving Florida Historical Society's top honors, publishing historical books, elegantly crafted, producing video histories, dramatically told, educating our citizens for decades, enlightening the generations to come, sponsoring tonight's special television presentation, and offering you the opportunity to become a part of Jacksonville history. Call 665-0064, visit jackshistory.com, and become a member of the Jacksonville Historical Society, celebrating 80 years serving our community.